Welcome everybody to the community AMA on the Cryengine community Discord. Most of you guys probably know me. I'm Cry-Nic, Cryengine community developer. With me is Alex, our junior engine programmer.
Hey.
Some of you guys submitted questions previously, and we picked some questions also from people who can't be here tonight that we will answer first. Mr. Squarepack, I mean, you're here. I can see you're here. But I picked one of your questions because you had a couple of them. I'll read it out loud, okay? Under the roadmap R&D sandbox, it says big world editing, zones, sublevels. Is there any work being done on this? And I think Alex can tell us a little more about this.
Yes, since it's under the R&D section of the roadmap, this means we investigated and we will investigate this in the future. But of course, this doesn't mean like this will get in with the next releases. This is just something we have to research and look into and how we can actually resolve this. But of course, we can't say when it will be introduced immediately. But I also remember that there were questions regarding what are the problems of this, or why can't I just create an unlimited size map by default? And I wanted to give a little bit of explanation here. First of all, the problem is of course that the engine itself was never set up to have huge maps for endless scenes. So there was always some sort of limits set to the engine in which we can operate and in which we can optimize the engine. Which means that, of course, it runs fast on the smaller maps, but for larger maps you need other systems. You have to stream the data differently. You have to set up sectors, as it was already mentioned in the question. And those are just things which have to be implemented in the engine. And also a new problem which comes up with a huge map is also that the floating point position from the actual position of the entities and other objects might not be precise enough to capture all the different entities in the world. And this would have to be changed as well. And those are just some things which have to be investigated and in which we have to figure out how we do this best. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, makes sense. Does that answer your question, Mr. Squarepack? Also, you can, if you want to, you can just unmute your microphone and just throw a follow-up question in if you want to, because that was basically your question.
Don't be shy.
Exactly.
Oh. Right, then I guess we pick another question.
You can wait. It's a 3-second rule, Alex.
It's a 3-second rule.
3.
I'm counting. Din, din.
Okay. Okay, well, if you want to throw in a follow-up question later, just ping us. Cool. So now the other person that is totally not here, Dragoncast Josh. Josh asks the question, is or will there be a way to reference entities, components through inspector fields, e.g. a player having a weapon, pickup platform having a reference to the weapon it needs to spawn?
So yes, I'm not entirely sure what exactly you mean with that, but I suppose that you mean some sort of picker, because we already have the entity picker for the entity links, which is probably similar to what you want. And we want, of course, to support more different types in the inspector, just so you can, for example, reference an entity and you can actually pick that entity in the scene. So it's a nice transaction in the property window and you don't have to set it up manually. And this is definitely something which will go on for, which should go in for the properties of the components in the future.
I hope that answers your question, Josh.
Yes, I mean, just ask if you have any more questions regarding that.
Then 3-second rule. Cool. Awesome. Nice, then I guess we move on. Zeph asks, is Zeph here, by the way? I can't see him.
It's getting fuller. It's hard to see everyone at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyways, you can listen to the AMA later when we publish it then. and maybe his question is interesting for more of you guys, so I'm reading it out loud. What kind of games development teams is Crytek looking to support regarding the big world editing feature? How will the decision be made as to what gets done?
So yes, I guess this is kind of a follow-up question to the first question regarding the big world editing, and I guess the development preference is more like how many people are actually asking for this specific feature, because I guess that not everyone who develops a Cryengine game right now needs such a huge world and actually wants to produce a game with such a huge scope, because I mean you can make a huge world but you also have to fill it with stuff. Exactly, yeah, this was a slight reference. So yeah, exactly, and this is something we have to see if actually a lot of developers want this, and if actually also maybe in-house productions might also need this in the future.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult. We get this question actually a lot. We just talked about this during Quo Vadis a couple of weeks ago in Berlin. So I know that nowadays, I mean, we have this whole open world explosion of games. Everything is open world now. But yeah, as Alex explained, we have some limitations on that. But I want to throw in something related. So when it is about features that we get asked about a lot, we might be able to prioritize them. This comes into my topic, basically how we process feedback from the community. There was a community wish list that we looked into, but it was a bit difficult for us to maintain because it was on Trello and it was basically outsourced. So it was a community wish list made by the community, and while we tried to get our developer on it, it was a bit difficult to maintain. But we have a feature on our channels that we want to expand on. At the moment, it's a bit barren, but bear with me here because we're working really hard on this to make this part of our development workflow. And that is in the Cryengine Answer Hub section. There is actually a section where you can submit ideas. And everyone who is registered on cryengine.com can access the Answer Hub as well. You just don't go to the community section and choose answers from the drop-down. And there you just have to navigate to the ideas space, which is a bit hidden at the moment. And I want to have this differently. I want it more publicly displayed, and I am going to make it happen. Bear with me. And then in this ideas space, actually, you can submit a feature or an idea for a tool, a plugin, whatever. It can be anything that has to do with Cryengine development, really. And then everyone can vote on that feature. And we try to prioritize things that have more votes. Because this is actually a very good staple. Thanks, Oggy, for posting this. It's a good staple for us to basically see how many people really want this. And it helps us prioritizing things. Exactly. Because sometimes, people are more vocal about one feature. But then again, it's still hard for us to do the math and to say, okay, how many people are actually interested in this?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, Michael is putting it in the chat as well. This is the ideas page with the list. We're going to make it all pretty and flashy and nicer. But for now, maybe just bookmark that page. And then if you have any ideas that you can't throw in today, or that you feel like are overlooked, or that you yourself want to know how many other people might be interested in this, just put it there, put it forward, and then it helps us immensely to keep track of the ideas and features and how much they are wanted. Okay? Cool. Can I share? Can I share a good Discord voice chat recording bot if you are interested, since I will have to go and I really want to listen to this later tonight. You don't have to suggest a bot because we're actually recording this already. We won't upload it tonight, but I guess somewhere next week we're going to put that either on YouTube or on our website, or share it in a podcast format. We will see what exactly we do, so everyone who can't listen to it until the end or who misses it can listen to it later. Okay? Cool. Yeah. Next question. Let's pick this one.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Cool. Another pre-picked question, because that's one from the forum, and I want to include the forum community as well. Fury22 UK asks, will there, and eventually when will there, be support for touch bending and cloth with FBX importer?
Yes, I actually asked someone from the Sandbox team this morning regarding this question because I wasn't entirely sure. And I had a quick talk with him. And what the problem here is that the cloth and the touch bending itself is not 100% supported by every exporting tool by default for the FBX format. So this is something which would have to be set up on the side of the third-party tool, or this would be something we have to get into the FBX format somehow, or that would be the other option to actually include some sort of mesh editor where you can do this after you imported your FBX mesh. So yeah, this is something which actually was never looked at because it was never requested or anyone complained about this. So this was actually the first time we investigated this. And I guess if this is a highly requested feature, we can look into it and look how easy this would be to do. But you can also, of course, keep in mind that the exporter for 3D Max or Maya is still a thing, and you could just set up all the things through those exporter, and they will immediately put them into CGF files, and then you can just use them in the engine without going through the FBX import. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know if Fury's here.
I don't know if they are here because I don't know if they have a Discord account. If they are actually.
So like it's hard to do.
Well, I hope that answers that question. Yes. Anyways, quick question from the chat. So never follow 81. So Andre, it is Andre, right? Any ideas if 5.6 will be released over summer or pushed further into fall? So yeah, about releases. So basically, what we're doing right now is we're trying to push 5.5 out of the door and to make it the most stable release that we can get. Because yes, in the past we had issues and we overburdened stuff with features, and then we couldn't quite maintain it, and we just want to know. We know your pain. We know that sometimes the engine is a bit unstable, but at the same time we want to invest into new and interesting things. We want to be a staple for technology, include new features, everything. But we decided that with 5.5, we just want to make it stable. It has to be the basis for everything that comes after. And further looking ahead, I wouldn't go into details about when 5.6 will be published, because I would probably disappoint you guys, and I don't want that. We're going to update the roadmap eventually as well. That is public on the website right now because we have to rearrange a couple of things. Also, Hunt development is pretty important right now because, as you know, we are a publisher and developer of the engine and our own games. So this all basically plays a part and ties in with each and the other. And those, I would say, stay tuned because we will update you about this as soon as we have more info.
And if you're super interested and want to see what exact changes go into main or into the release branches, you still can check out GitHub.
Exactly.
And there you can see every single change we do pretty much to the mainstream, which will be later on 5.6 or whatever. So if you keep an eye on, for example, the GitHub bot is also here in Discord, you should see what happens on the branch. So that's maybe interesting to see that actually something happens. It's not like nothing gets submitted or so. Yes.
He's typing.
He's typing, yeah.
You're also in voice chat. You can also ask a follow-up question if you like. I gave you the power to unmute your microphone. Don't be shy.
I don't want to.
He stopped typing. Yes.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hey.
I was wondering about the character tool. I've noticed that the proxies are and how they work, but noticed that whenever you change the position of it, it does not get updated until you restart the engine. And is that correct?
I mean, I can't fully say that this is probably what happens right now. But if you can reproduce this, like all of the time in 5.4 or 5.5, whatever, you can actually just add a GitHub issue, because that should definitely not happen. And then you can just enter it, and we will add it to our Jira board, and we'll look at it and we'll fix it.
Thank you. Yes, I did submit one of that as an issue. I wasn't sure if it is an issue or if it's just the way it's behaving. Probably when it's reading out of the XML files.
Even if it would be a weird behaving, you still can enter a ticket, and we would probably just answer why this is intended or why this might be the case, and then we would still close the ticket. So even if you're not 100% sure, you still can enter it, and we will look into it. Right.
Was that okay?
I hope so.
I hope that was okay. He just muted himself again, so I hope we didn't disappoint him.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you for the answer.
All right.
Awesome, cool, and good to hear you, Andre. Good that you're here. Keep up the good work. Loving what you do. Igor already had a question.
Yeah. No questions for you. I mean, if there is no one else who wants to ask, of course. I guess.
Is there somebody who wants to ask a question who didn't ask a question yet? Because I think we already did pick one of Igor's, did we? Or didn't we? Did we? I thought we did. No, we didn't. Okay. Igor, do you want to ask your question here in voice chat?
Many questions. Yes, then go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hello.
Igor.
Actually, I have a couple of small questions. The first one is about schematic 2.0. Is there going to be any tutorials on the official documentation, or maybe video tutorials about that? And if there, so maybe when it will be?
Yeah, good question. The thing is, the schematic update isn't ready yet, which means when it is, we want it to be ready in a wholesome way. So we want to update the documentation. We want to make sure that we have tutorials and everything. And that is another reason why it takes a bit. Because we're using it internally already, and we want to make sure that we can build up a library of things that help people getting onto it very quickly when it's out. So I think that is a yes. I just can't tell you exactly when this is going to happen.
I'm pretty sure that there will be documentation and conversion guides, for example. And for example, I will very likely work on some conversion guides from how to get, for example, from older systems to the new one, and documentation. And I don't know if you already saw the new technical documentation we have pushed with 5.5. And the new schematic stuff will certainly be part of the technical documentation there too.
Yeah.
Thank you for the answer.
Cool. Then you want to ask your other question too that you just put in the chat? I don't know. Alex seemed to be keen on it.
No, I mean...
Are you?
Small questions about support for displacement feature in the terrain shader, and maybe some kind of upgrades for screen space reflections.
Yeah, okay, then I will answer the SSR question first.
Very important question, exactly.
Yeah, so exactly.
Very popular question.
God damn it! Don't spoil me now. Why do I even sit here? No. So yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted to say. Of course, we are looking into SSR, into the implementation of SSR, and we want to improve it, because it also has been a request from the in-house productions that we want to improve how the screen space works. And as you already can see in the chat, there was a commit today, I think, actually like 4 or 5 hours ago, which already addressed some of the issues. So yeah, we are working on it.
I think the shader question we can't quite answer right now.
Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry, but I'm not so much into the rendering or 3D engine part that I can answer this with certainty. But maybe
save it for next time. Then maybe we get a rendering guy in here, and then we can ask all the rendering questions.
Exactly. That might make more sense.
Cool. Thank you for asking. Thank you for great questions. You're a great lord. Thank you. It's awesome. I really like how this is going. I hope you do too. I mean, as always, just to butt in real quick, it's like if you have feedback for this, we're doing this for the first time, like the dynamic and how we do this. Things might change in the future, but we definitely want to do this again. We chose a rather narrow scope for now, because technically we said, hey, let's keep it to everything that's in the development table update. What? Oh, yeah, well. So basically, we just keep it a bit simpler now because we're only the two of us. In the future, maybe if we have ironed out the bips and bobs here a bit more, then we can bring more developers here. But the engine is a vast field, so especially rendering and stuff, that's stuff that we can't always answer. We need an expert for that, or we need to prepare. So if the question... if you answer, that's why we said, please ask some of the questions in advance so we can ask the team and then have them ready. But yeah, sorry that in some cases we might just be like, just save it for later. You want to pick a question?
Well, I mean, if Mr. Squarepack wants to ask his question, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. What will be the benefits and improvements of Schematic 2.0 over 1.0?
So yeah, I mean, there will be improvements in the usability because it was an experimental version of Schematic. We collected feedback, we saw what worked and what didn't work, and the workflow will be improved. How we use the entities in Schematic or how we can set up entities in Schematic will be easier, and we want, of course, to add more functionality and nodes to it in general, so you can actually like use more stuff in it.
Okay. Follow-up question. We'll be able to extend Schematic via C#.
So you can write C# components, which would mean you can use those components in Schematic, but do you mean like extending the Schematic code itself, or what exactly do you mean?
Extending Schematic itself, yes. Like creating custom nodes, stuff like that. Oh,
well, custom nodes, I don't know honestly right now. That would be something we could look into if we could make some sort of wrapper for the C# stuff so you can write your own nodes. I mean, you can write your own components where you can reflect functions which can then be used or could be used in Schematic. But if you actually want to edit the Schematic code itself, you would probably have to compile the source itself and manipulate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Thanks for the question. Josh has another question. Any news on the engine? You mean streams, don't you? Was mentioned a while back, live streams. Yeah, I think you mean live streams, right? So, yes, actually we have some news about live streams. At the moment, we're trying to explore different ways of giving you more interaction with the community and the devs in the safe space environment. We have the Discord chat. The Discord chat is going quite well, so we're trying to be a bit more agile, as you say nowadays, in interacting with you guys and getting your feedback in it. That's partly my job, right? So this live AMA is one of the things that we wanted to try in a smaller, more agile format, because a live stream always is a very big commitment, because you have to prepare stuff, everything needs to go right, you expect a good experience from a live stream, and especially with the engine, that means we have to prepare a slice of content that we can show to you and discuss to you. We have to carefully figure out what we want to show you, and we only have so much time to do that. So we definitely want to do it again. But currently we're trying to not bite off more than we can chew, because we're a small team, as you know. And live streams will be back. We just have to get through this bottleneck and then make sure that we have a good program for you guys. And also, ultimately, what we want to do is we have a ton of great streamers in our community that we appreciate very, very much. And we want to basically make sure that we can also share their content and give them a spotlight more frequently, because I think that's just good for the community if everybody who creates content can come together and you can all get it from one feed. But again, bear with us a little longer, because we're definitely working on it. We hear your feedback. And actually, that was also brought up in the Answer Hub ideas section, and I actually replied to it. But feel free to go there and vote for the idea if you want more streams, because like I said, also, it helps to prioritize things. If this has more votes, then we can basically put more resources and more priority on it, if that makes sense. Okay? That answers your question, Josh? Nice. So, more questions. You want to you want to pick the next one? This one?
Yeah, we can do.
Okay. Picking one of the pre-submitted questions again. Salis, I think, asks, is Salis here? Can't see them. Can't see anything. So, Salis asks, is C++ still a priority over, or C# is going to take over in a far away future? And a follow-up to that was, or an addition to that question was, Lua being deprecated, C# still hasn't any way to communicate with C++.
So yeah, this is an interesting question. So first of all, I think C++ will still be our main priority, if you can say so. It's like the engine is written in C++, so yeah, I mean, this will stay in the engine for quite some time. I mean, I don't know the far future, what could happen, but for the next time, C# will be a tool you can utilize to write or script game logic comparable to Lua, and as the question already mentioned, that that Lua is being deprecated, C# will have the way you could, or the same features you could use with Lua. And actually you can already communicate with C++ right now, because what happens in the background is that Swig generates the C# code as a layer, and then you can access C++ functions from the engine core itself through C#. The only thing which is right now not working is communication in between your C# components or C++ components, for example. But since Crymiron is here in the chat anyway, and I guess we might have another AMA with him or something, he might be better to answer this in a broader spectrum.
Crymiron is our C# guy.
He's the
guy.
C# guy.
The C# guy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Salas isn't here, so I hope that answers that question. Let's pick another one. What do you want to pick?
Well, I guess some questions.
We have some more in chat. This isn't a question. Phoenix, don't bash your head into the keyboard, please. I think Phoenix had a question. I saw it scroll by. I just don't remember it. Maybe you want to ask it in voice chat.
Actually, we should take the question from Dr. Issue.
Dr. Issue?
Yeah, that might be an interesting one.
I love the name. Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, what's an AMA?
What's an AMA? An AMA is what we're doing right now. It's short for Ask Me Anything, usually. It means that you can just come together in a more casual way and ask the creators of some project, a tool, software, or even a TV show or something about things they do. And everything goes. We just called it an Ask Me Almost Anything because, like I said, some of the details, like rendering stuff, we can't answer off the bat. But we're trying pretty hard. So this is just a way to come in here and ask us questions. Ask me Cryengine stuff, AMCS, yeah? Nice. Disappointed, I see. Dr. Issue, we disappointed Dr. Issue.
No, he was just kidding. See?
You think so? I'm not so sure about this.
He's a nice guy, pretty sure.
I'm not so sure about this. I don't want to disappoint a doctor. Sounds dangerous to me. Okay. Jesco, you have a couple of questions. Do you want to unmute your microphone and start with one?
Yeah. Please.
Because you had a couple.
I think we can't hear you yet.
I think he's far away. Bear with him.
Okay. It's time traveling.
Oh yeah, I enabled push to talk.
Awesome.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so first question is English. Is Crytek trying to get more AAA game companies to use the engine?
We're always doing that. That is basically a question that ties into licensing and stuff. Of course, we're always interested in getting people on board to license the engine. And if you are interested in that, basically, you can go to our homepage and go to licensing and business. And there's a form that you can fill out if you are interested in that. Of course, we have a BizDev department that travels around and tries to attract new people to use the engine for bigger projects. And that is, an ongoing thing that always happens. And right now I know that we have some negotiations, but unfortunately I can't talk about it because it's under wraps. But I can say that we have a couple of apps coming if everything goes well, but you know that AAA development can take a couple years. And I can't talk about anything yet, but there are some nice and interesting things in the pipeline, and of course a bunch of indie games. But yeah, basically, if you have a bigger project or a studio, a couple of different, there are different opportunities. So our license, how it is on the website, is just the standard license. Everyone can use Cryengine under that license. If you want something extra or you want something more or you want different conditions, you can always get in touch with the BizDev department. They will negotiate about the needs of your game, your project, your brand, and also the game that you are making, and then we can always negotiate more things. One of the next things that I can talk about it, because they talked about it already, is Maverick's Proving Grounds from Automaton. And that is going to be a very interesting app, and I heard they are going to talk about the game more at E3.
Yeah, it looks really, really interesting.
Yeah, it looks really nice. So I'm really looking forward for E3 to see what they have to say. And I have to leave it at that.
All right, cool. How about Ragdoll-based animations in Cryengine?
Honestly, I would love to answer this question, but right now I'm not 100. Like, this is one of the specific questions to the animation team.
Yeah.
And I would rather see animation people answering this question, the specific question for animation, so they can give you a proper answer. But I guess there will be also an AMA in the future with maybe other people.
All right. And my last question.
Yes.
What is the status of Schematic 2.0?
We just talked about this, and I am afraid we can't say much more as we have.
Yeah.
It's in development. We're already using it internally, and we're making great strides. But everything else is just, we'll update you as soon as it's ready.
And the thing is also, like, how do you define status?
Exactly.
Like, we work on it, but the question is, like, what do you want exactly to know in that regard? It's hard to tell from us, because if it's ongoing in development, things might evolve in a different way we expected. So we rather, like, finish up the whole concept and the whole, like, feature, and then release it, instead of, like, making some ambitious status.
Claims and statements.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can't really follow up.
We don't want to disappoint you guys. It's all about expectation management, really. But what I can say is that we are using it internally already, which is always good, because that's one of the advantages that we have as a technology company that also uses their own engine and is very close to their own game teams, because we're all in the same house, basically in the same building. So there's vivid exchange between the teams, which means that direct feedback of our developers goes directly into the engine, and is basically the reason why we want to make sure that it is ready for production, and that is why we ship our own games with it first, to make sure that it's actually stable and it stands. And that's what we're doing right now, and it's pretty rounded so far, but I can't go into much detail because I think it would probably just excite you guys too much, and then it takes a little longer, something changes, and then that's why we put the beta in there, because the beta has a couple of nice and interesting features, and while Schematic 2 will be different, you already have something to test and toy around with, and where we can also measure how much you guys like it and what you don't like. And then the feature that you give to us about the Schematic beta is definitely also feedback that will get into the development of Schematic 2.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's not like it's not like this thing will be completely different. I mean, of course, there will be changes, it will look different, but if you have done some work with schematic right now, there will be conversion guides which you can use to follow up with the new schematic.
It's more about data, architecture, and format that might change, which means we say it's a beta feature, so it's not production ready, because if you start developing a game that we want to ship, and then we change to schematic 2, then things might just change in a way that it might break your build. This is really just for you to try out, to learn workflows, establish workflows, learn functionality, and just grasp the scope of what this system can do. So yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Cool, awesome. I just saw that Roma Journey, he threw something in that I forgot to mention, because actually go to Automaton's website and go to their GitHub, because they bring great things to the engine. For example, they brought the spatial OS integration to the engine, and it's on GitHub, and they have a ton of other interesting stuff. So yeah, in general, advertisement, Automaton, great guys. So yeah, just check out their page and their GitHub as well. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's look at more questions. Like Mr. Squarepack said as well. Yeah, it is awesome. We really appreciate this, and this kind of technology exchange is actually super important for us. Need to go. Question. I don't know. What question would we like to take? I think. Just in case, guys, because we're going a bit all over the place with topics here, which is fine, I guess. But because we talked a lot about technology questions, I put in a couple of things about licensing, but we have a new business model now, and this is also your opportunity to talk about that. So if any of you guys has questions about the new business model, licensing, etc., feel free to ask those questions as well now, because I'm here to basically answer them. We have the FAQ, we send out a newsletter, we try to explain these things, but we get the feedback that for some people it's not quite clear what we're doing, and I'm happy to elaborate if any of you guys wants to use this opportunity to talk to me in person. 3-second rule.
Yes.
Doesn't look like anybody has impromptu questions about licensing, royalties, etc. Then just what's happening? Am I ruining everything?
No, it's fine.
Alex is like,
fine.
oh my god, he's ruining everything. Oh no, don't touch this. I'm sorry, I'm a gremlin. I have issues with technology sometimes. If there's a bug, I will find it. So if you need beta testers for your games, just call me. I find all the bugs. Mr. Squarepack, question. You want to ask the question in voice chat? Go on. Check.
Yeah, sure. Regarding the new business model, after how much money we make, we have to pay Crytek 5%. I'm assuming it's 5%.
Yeah, it is 5%. It's $5,000, I think.
US or is that euro?
Dollars, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Although it says dollars, I think. Although it might be different. So for somebody who registered a game in the States, it might be dollars, while it will be euros for somebody who registered in Europe.
Okay. I hope it's okay if I ask this follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say your game relies on cryptocurrency. Would that be allowed?
What do you mean allowed?
Like, how do I put this? Like, let's say we make $1,000 in cryptocurrency or whatever over like $10,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we pay Crytek in crypto or no?
That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure about this. I know that cryptocurrency earnings are basically are counted in, of course, because they are earnings. I'm just not sure if you can pay us back. Maybe you have to use Crycash.
Okay.
Because we have this partnership with Crycash now. But I have to say, I don't know too much about it, except for the press release and everything that was announced. So I'm not too sure about this. But you can always ask, like with very specific questions. If you know that up front, it makes sense to basically go to our website, to the BizDev section. So it says business and licensing, I think. And you can fill out the form. If you already know that you want to have your business model based on cryptocurrency, you can ask our BizDevs, because with certain gray areas like this, it makes sense to get a statement from them before you start planning, because once you have that in writing, it just, covers your bases.
Okay, so one last question from me, okay? Okay, this deals with licensing. So, Archvision Film, the EULA specifically prohibits it, but why?
Archviz.
Movie, so what do you mean?
Architectural visualization.
Oh, of course. We don't prohibit it, actually. It's
you
just,
don't? Okay.
It's just under a different license.
Okay.
That's an important point. That's a point I tried to make in the beginning, and we try to make this more clear. So thanks for raising it again, so I can be crystal clear about this. The EULA, or basically the license agreement that is on the website, is our general standard, like all hands, all eyes license agreement. It's the most standard thing that we could put out there. It applies mostly to games, because whenever it comes to serious games, educational stuff, architectural visualization, different laws also apply, which means the broader, more general thing is for entertainment. That is out there on the website to make it easier for people to just look at it and see, okay, yeah, this is where we're going. I know this, so I can just start developing my game, and I only have to get in touch with you once I don't know, have reached a certain point or whatever, yada yada. But with the other stuff, like also training for companies, for example, VR training for companies and stuff, it can get difficult to set up a license agreement for these, because special laws are applicable and other revenues, so more things that we didn't want to cover in the general license agreement to not confuse people are needed to be a part of the discussion at the contract. And that means also, if you do stuff like this, just get in touch with our licensing department, because they can negotiate with you with your project and then give you a contract and a license agreement that is basically on point for what you try to do, if that makes sense.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. No worries. So, you want to pick a question again, Alex? Or do we have more licensing questions? What are some of the... So, Phoenix again, Jesco. I'm just picking this real quick because I saw it and it kind of goes into this field, I think. What are some of the common pitfalls of starting marketing for projects? Yeah, that's a question I can answer, although it's a broad question. And there are many pitfalls, basically, but don't be shy. Everybody starts with this, and especially smaller indie projects and titles have to deal with this a lot, because you're a developer, you have an artist, you want to be the one-man army, and you have to be able to do everything, and marketing is often not usually one of those things that a very tech-savvy person probably knows or likes to deal with. At least that's the notion I get when I talk to you guys sometimes. I am actually currently developing a little handout, kind of a presentation that I want to give that is directed at smaller studios and developers. And I will try to put together a catalog of tips and tricks to help you do networking, leverage free marketing options, and leverage crowdfunding opportunities like Kickstarter, etc. Because all these things are wonderful. We have them now. They make it happen and possible that even small studios can thrive. They can find their audience ahead of time. They can find patrons, supporters early ahead. But at the same time, the market is so crowded that it can be very daunting to actually get it started or to get noticed. I have seen great projects basically fall on their face, which was very, very sad for me to see, just because it is difficult nowadays to get the word out about a great project that you have. Some of the pitfalls that I will also in detail probably talk about in this catalog and this workshop that I want to create for the Cryengine community and our indies. First is expectation management. It's very important to manage your own expectations and the expectations of your potential audience, which just means looking at the numbers, looking at the percentage, setting goals for yourself, what you want to reach. It's a workflow that you need to set up, same as any other development workflow, basically. And working with Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, like I said, opening a Patreon or doing a Kickstarter campaign can be a massive undertaking that shouldn't be underestimated. And Roma, for example, can tell you a thing or two about that as well. And many others that I see here have their fair share of experience in this kind of thing. And I feel like I can probably help the community by putting together the workshop and then give it out to you guys and help you networking, because that is one of the biggest things. I have done a lot of networking on conventions, etc., and you should do that too. By all means, if you have a project, put yourself out there. Don't be shy to talk to people. Don't be shy to make connections in the industry as well. So basically try to talk to other indie devs, always extend the hand, help each other, because even though if you're competing on the same market, the best allies you can have are actually your next door neighbors. Something that I find very important and very helpful. And it will be those people who can actually, when you band together, help you more than it can hurt you. And that is maybe one of the biggest pitfalls that I have seen when people start to act against each other in communities, because that usually doesn't end well. Cool. There are many things, and I encourage you, if you have certain pain points when it comes to marketing and also getting your game out there, just put it on the forum, maybe put it in writing. I will try to incorporate it in my workshop as well. Additionally, tying into our business agreement again, it is mandatory that if you develop a game on Cryengine and you want to actually monetize it, that you register your game with Crytek. And we have a new game registration form on the website right now. It's also linked in our FAQ about licensing, where it says that you should be registering your game. And this is really just so that we know who's doing what with our engine, and that we can keep tabs on things, give you tips on marketing, help you adhere to the branding guidelines. And this is basically all me. So when you're writing this, you send that right to me. And I try to help you to make sure that if you develop your game and then you bring it to market, you don't get into any trouble when referencing the engine, because there are certain rules, and I know sometimes they aren't very straightforward, but you can just submit your marketing material to us. We help you with stuff. We give you resources. Also, if you opt in for marketing support, and that is something that I've seen, I think some people don't quite know what that means. When you register your game, you opt in for marketing support. That basically means you give us permission, or you express interest, that we help you promote your game on our channels. And that is something that is very important when you have a small game and you're just starting out. Getting on a channel that has so much reach beyond your audience and your circles that you can reach yourself, that helps tremendously. And we are very happy to do that for our indie games, which means just tick that box when you register your game and we'll get in touch. And then we'll just give you a shout out on Twitter. We boost you on Facebook. You can get a blog post on our blog. Some other people, so Roma, for example, as well, we invited him to come to DevCom with us. So we took him to Cologne He was at our booth. We are always looking for indies to basically go to venues with us, show their Cryengine games. If you're able, if you're ready, if you want to show your stuff, if you want to help promote the engine, then we help promote you. You know, it's just this, it goes both ways, and we are very happy to extend a hand to our devs, especially the indies who don't have so much money to support their reach. And so I can only highly recommend to get registered and tick that box, or shoot me an email, or basically ping me on the forum. I'm just here for you and I'm happy to help. Okay? Thank you. Quickly, because it says how long is the AMA. I think we said it's going for an hour, but we were a bit late, so I think we can definitely go on for a bit longer.
So yes, I also saw that the Linux stuff was actually asked quite some time throughout different
True.
guys.
You want to talk about
I
that?
can say a little bit about it, although I would like to pass on the sandbox question to Lewis if he will actually join us at some point. So what I can say right now that we build the stuff on, like we can compile the engine on Linux, and we test this on a daily basis. So every time we run our builds, we make sure it actually works in Linux, and we do, for example, moved towards Vulkan, which would make the Linux support also way easier and nicer, since this would be a solution for multiple platforms. And yeah, I think this is something which definitely is possible, and the compilation right now works, and I think the dedicated server definitely runs on the Linux, because we want to make sure that you can also have the dedicated server on a Linux server. Yes, so I hope that answers it at least a little bit.
Cool. Yeah, like Alex said, another thing is that we try to get more people into more AMAs. So if you guys like it, and so far it looks like you like it, we try to get more people from different teams. For example, Sandbox would be, of course, a hot contender that we want to try to get in here to talk to you guys directly. But yeah, just keep it coming. Some questions we might not be able to answer now, but just keep it coming. Just post to the forums as well, and then we'll just make sure that we beg the guys to come here and yeah.
Pretty sure they will.
Oh. Don't blue screen, please.
No.
Please stop.
It just saw Michael's question and was like, nope.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, trollolol. Thank you. Yeah, you all ping Crymiron and beg him to come to the next AMA.
Yeah, he should.
Now.
Yeah, no.
You're allowed. Right now. Yeah, just ping him in chat.
Yeah, great.
Mention.
Thanks, Michael, for this contribution.
Yeah, very good. So, more questions. I'm just looking at. I don't exactly know. This one? Maybe?
Yeah, we can do.
Alessandro asked a question. I'm not sure if Alessandro is here. Because I think that was on a different... No, that was... that was also here. Okay. Yeah. Wait, let me see. I know who that is now. No, he's not here. But anyways, Alessandro asked a question. I will read the question for him. Are there plans to make CE more free from other softwares, open source or not, such as Adobe Flash, modeling, sculpting softwares, and so on?
So yes, I mean, this is a hard to answer question, because if you have a AAA game engine, which already we offer already a lot of different tools you can utilize in the engine, but at some point you will hit some sort of tool you have to use from a third-party provider. For example, the sculpting. I mean, we have the Cry Designer in the engine itself, and you can do proper models with it. And if you check out the marketplace, we have some examples on there, and they were all made in Cry Designer. But of course, if you want to like have a full-size modeling tool, you have to use third-party, and there's no plan to actually make this somehow a part of the engine. But of course, you can always, if you don't want to buy a license or if you can't afford it, there's always some open source free solution, or for most of the things there will be open source free solutions. Like for example, Blender you could use for modeling. So yeah, I guess that of course you want to not make the engine completely dependent from like a lot of different third-party libraries, but at some point you have to of course use other tools or software to fully utilize like the potential. Yes, and this for example also applies to audio. Like you can use the SDL mixer implementation we have, which is free and you can just use it right away, but of course it isn't as rich feature rich as for example Fmod or Wise. Yeah, Blenders love, Blenders life. See you guys. So if you have any Blender questions, I guess you can ask Mr. Squarepack.
I was just told that my voice chat was cut off. I guess you have to tell me stuff like this. I hope it's not too bad. I just moved a bit closer to the microphone now, so I hope it's better. Because I can't hear myself, so I'm dependent on you guys. Cool. I think Spiky Plant had a question. Do you want to ask the question in chat?
Can't remember what question this was. It was a while back.
Just think about something.
Whip something up.
Well, I had one that was ages ago. It was, how do you suggest that someone learns Cryengine from a pretty much complete beginner standpoint? Okay,
so we have the getting started page on the tutorial page on Cryengine, which mostly shows how to use the sandbox itself. So you find yourself around in the editor, you can place objects and stuff like that. And of course, if you want to dig deeper into C++, or like coding in general, there are the templates, you can select throughout the launcher, which can give you already a good introduction to how to use the components, for example, or how to use the features of the engine. Of course, we have also different marketplace examples which you can learn from. Of course, there is room for improvements on the documentation page, and as we already said earlier, we added the new technical documentation page, which actually goes more into technical detail regarding how the engine itself works, how the API works. We improved the API documentation, so you can actually just check out the functions you call, see what the parameter do, and stuff like this. So this would be the way I would expect people to learn.
Okay, thanks.
Or do you have any specific field you wanted to know?
No, not really. Just sort of that's pretty much just it.
Okay.
So,
that's also
thanks.
Flappy.
Yeah, I mean there's actually
there's also Flappy Boy.
Yeah, there's Flappy Boy, which actually goes in.
Gone through that.
That one covers more the flow graph part. There is Sidewinder, which is pretty much just C#, but it is pretty much a full side scroller with enemies, shooting and all this.
Quite some templates and samples to pick apart and look into.
But yeah, of course, it's not like we're gonna stop with this. In general, we want, of course, to help the community, our people, to getting started with the engine. And I would actually say that if you look back, like 2 years ago, the engine was way easier to pick up, especially for C++ programming.
How did you like Flappy?
I guess pretty much as I like the original Flappy Bird. So.
No, I mean like the actual course. So what it teaches you and how it does that. Was that?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say it was amazing. I kind of learned everything I expected to learn from it. So
it's very basic. It's very basic. Yeah,
basic in that sense. That.
Yeah. It's like, so we wanted to do something quick and easy that we can also do at conventions and workshops. Something that works in a matter of hours and already teaches you the very basics. It's also directed at people who might not have ever touched a game engine before. And that's where we took something that everybody kind of knows and can kind of relate to, and then we show people how to pick apart at flow graph, etc. pp, to just have some decent mechanics and some decent the very basics of importing assets into the engine and then setting them up and have a very basic game logic that works and that you can execute.
Yeah, well, I can tell you it certainly achieved that. But I'll let you get on to other questions now. So thanks.
And of course, if you have questions regarding programming or so, you can also ask a question in the C++ forum section or in the forum in general. And I will very likely be there somewhere with my CryLX account. And also other developer will be there. And maybe community member to help you out.
Cool.
Yes.
So, Josh was...
We can actually pick a non-Cryengine because it's Ask Me Anything, right? So.
It's Ask Me Anything, yeah, okay. I mean, just real quick, because Josh threw in the question about Scaleform again.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it's just not any news on Scaleform replacement. No. We're still looking into it, but it's like right now, it's still available. It's a viable option. It works. It still has a lot of functionality, and we're looking into replacing it ultimately, but I just asked about this recently, and I think right now it's pretty much no big progress yet. But you can still. I think somebody mentioned GUI as an alternative and stuff. So yeah, that is something that we were poking at. So I remember that I heard about this, but I can't tell you exactly how far we are with this. So for now, I would say bear with me, but it is also something that if you're so annoyed by it, and I kind of understand why, then you can... Yeah, SDK replacement as well, but that is a different... that's a different story. Josh, seriously, all the replacements. Yeah, just go over to the idea space on Answer Hub and just put that down there, because it's one of those things that we're looking into, but if you vote for it and we see that it gets a lot of traction, then we might prioritize it, okay? So that is also a good example, and I need to move closer to the microphone. Also a good example for stuff that you can throw on the board by using the idea space on Answer Hub. Okay. Non-serious, non-Cryengine question. I can't pronounce your name, little squirrel avatar. Do you want to ask this question in chat? It's Freddy. Freddy?
Okay. So yeah, what's our favorite bar in Frankfurt? What's the best bar in Frankfurt? Well, I would actually say that my favorite bar is not in Frankfurt, and I'm not choosing a favorite bar in Frankfurt yet because, I mean, there are plenty of bars. So I would actually go with Naive because that one I know, and that one was good.
I thought Alex doesn't like Frankfurt because there's no chiptunes.
That's true. If it would be a chiptune bar, like, sign me up immediately.
Me too, actually. Yeah. I live in the countryside, actually, around Frankfurt. So I rarely go to Frankfurt. I sometimes go to Zap Bar with friends. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm boring like that. Cool. We're drawing to a close with the AMA. So anybody has any burning questions that they definitely need to go in now? Integrations.
What?
How's the new office? Great, Josh. It's great. Crap, I'm all out of questions. Yeah.
What? No way.
How did that happen?
Oh, do you have a dog or a cat?
Oh, Phoenix has a question. Do you have a dog or a cat? Yeah. So we have office dogs at Crytek. Most adorable office dogs.
Yeah.
I have to say. I have to post more pictures of the office dogs. Actually.
But they have been posted in the past, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, exactly.
I have excessively used Kiara, which is Philip's husky, and she's just adorably cute.
She's amazing.
Do the dogs work on the development of the engine too? Kiara is a very important factor.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes
principal rendering engineer.
Exactly, principal rendering engineer. Sometimes we just put her on the floor, and then we let her sit in front of a mannequin, and then she collapses, and we know something's wrong again. Where do I? Yeah. We have ballet and sometimes Nacho and it's okay. What breeds are the office dogs? So Kiara is a husky.
Yeah, I guess so. But the other ones, I don't know.
Malay is she's got some kind of corgi, a Welsh corgi, I think.
Yeah, probably.
She's very fluffy. Very, very fluffy. Kiara is, I want to...
so good.
Yeah, so soft, so fluffy, exactly. Kiara is the kind of fluffy where we think she's a very tiny dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There we
live
go.
Pictures.
Thanks for the background support.
Thanks for the background support. That's a live picture tweeted from the office. Kiara on the floor. Yeah. And to answer the question fully, I have 2 cats at home. But yeah, the office dogs are kind of communal dogs. Like they bring joy to everyone. I know, right? And you know, the best thing is I can just turn around and then I can pet her whenever, really. So yeah. Why are you mad at me? My cats are adorable, Phoenix. I have most adorable cats. Because I can pet her. I will send you pictures every day now. You just have to come. You just have to stop by, Roma. You know, just stop by, and send me that email that we talked about. Don't forget about it again. Cool. Okay. You know, usually we just use the cat pictures when we do testing. So our QA testers for web fill the marketplace with cat pictures and dog pictures. That's a little secret. I gave that away. But yeah, the test marketplace.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I might sneak in a screenshot for you if you behave. Merchandise question. Any plans for .stls of the nano suits? Excuse me, but what is a .stl? I actually don't know that. Do I want to Google that at the office?
No. Well, I guess no. He wants probably to print it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You said merchandise, and I totally didn't associate it with that. Probably not.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But we have a merchandise store for Cryengine.
We do have a merchandise store for Cryengine, yes. It has mostly apparel and the mug. Quick, somebody post the mug.
The Replace Me mug.
The Replace Me mug is awesome.
It's amazing.
Some of my trusty moderators just go to the Cryengine merchandise store and post a picture of the mug. Or go to the kitchen and take a picture because several people have it. Not that one. That one.
Yes.
That one. That's the one. Thank you. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I guess you know what you have to do after the AMA.
Yeah.
It's gonna order some Replace Me mugs.
I still have to talk to the Miscreated guys because they actually promised me to just put mugs with that Replace Me texture in the actual game as an Easter egg. Because it's a wraparound and Spreadshirt has this weird thing that they can't show this. So this means there are 2 versions of the mug. One has the print only on one side and the other is a wraparound, so it goes around the whole mug. Unfortunately, it doesn't preview very well on Spreadshirt. But yeah, the one that you are having is the one with the big print. I can send you a picture later. I don't have it right here, but I have that wraparound mug actually, so I can post a picture later in Discord. If you want to see it for real. It looks quite good actually. Is it planned to do a hot reload of the DLL?
I guess that depends on what you do with the DLL. I mean, you can already do this in Visual Studio with edit and continue, if I'm not entirely wrong. So you can actually rebuild the DLL and you can rerun it, or like it still runs in the same instance. But if you do major changes in your code, do not expect that this will easily work because it has to be reloaded. For example, if you change something in the schematic reflection or something like that, you actually have to reload the DLL. And that will not immediately happen. So yes, that's what I can say to the DLL.
And yeah, Augie already, I saw the CWA
exactly,
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Augie already posted it. Yes, it was replaced.
Yeah.
What are you currently working on?
Well, I'm working on the entity system and entities in connection with schematic. I mean, there's nothing really specific I can say now, but I mean, I ported, for example, for like the last major release, I ported a lot of legacy entities over to the new component system. I just improved the workflow of the component itself. I actually added a lot of debug preview views to the component itself. And this should actually all be visible in the 5.5 release notes. Yes, and actually there was a question regarding hot reload in C#. That's already a thing, if I'm not entirely wrong.
Yeah, I think...
I
think...
But this is something...
Michael said that already, yeah. Because he's the C# guy.
I mean, that's the good... Like, that's one of the benefits of C#, because you can just easily hot reload it.
Cool.
Right.
Mr. Squarepack. You can all ping Mr. Squarepack now, please. Because who trolls can be trolled back. I allow it. Just spam him massively. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, I think we should call it a day. We should wrap up now, basically. So, thanks, guys. It was great. Some ups and downs in here. Of course, some technical issues, some stuff, but it all worked quite well.
Everyone behaved until now, which is which is impressive. So thanks for the cooperation here.
Thanks for behaving. Yeah. Thank you. This is great. This is how we can have nice things.
Yeah, definitely. And if it goes this well, I think we can definitely do more of.
Now we can just grab everyone who was afraid of you guys in here and can tell you how great you were. So do it again. Nice. Cool. Okay, great.
I can actually answer this last question here. With legacy entities and the new component system work together with FlowGraph in the future. So we ported the component system over, and pretty much all of the functionality of the legacy entity was moved to the component system. So you can just move the functions the component system offers you. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're satisfied?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
You seeing any interesting questions?
No, it's good. It's good.
You want to sit here until tomorrow? I can just leave.
Yeah, it's fine.
You just sit here. No. Cool. All right. So thanks to you guys for being here. Thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, thanks for the good questions as well. Yeah.
Awesome questions. Thanks for behaving. This is actually great. Thanks to our great moderators, to Oggy and to Cryflare. Who were also great with posting links and everything. I already regret a couple of things and how I did this, but hey, this is the first try. Yeah. So please keep your feedback coming. Don't be shy. You can post it on the forum or here into this chat, because the AMA chat is basically meant to be in effect for questions and the AMA, so you can also post your feedback there that you have. If anything comes to mind, like even if it's next week or whatever, just feel free to post it in here. We will definitely go through it and we'll see that we do much better next time. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, certainly.
I think no major hiccups.
So yeah.
You good, Alex?
I'm good.
Good. You be back next time.
Well, I don't know if that makes sense. I guess I would actually love to see Lewis or someone else here, so they can ask more specific questions regarding their special fields.
I'm sure they would have you again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Nice. So that wraps it up, I guess. Thank you so much. And how do the cool YouTubers say it?
Oh boy.
See you around next time.
Okay, see ya.